If there was one thing that Wayan was good at, it was running. So imagine her surprise when two large men caught up with her so easily and tied rope around her wrist, announcing that she was to be taken to the forest to participate in the proceedings. She thrashed wildly when they dragged her past her house, kicking and screaming. She saw the looks on her parents' faces and she stopped almost immediately. "Papa, Mama, help me! Papa, please, don't let them take me. Just do as they say, my darling dove. We will see each other again soon, I promise." He waved reassuringly and her chest erupted into sobs. The shock of what was about to happen was sinking in. She was going to be done by some male wolf that she didn't want and probably didn't suit her, and was going to use her as an incubator for his pups or future heirs. They threw her into a truck with 9 other girls who looked scared just like her. She found her friend Mia among the girls. Both weren't able to talk much because of the guards. A voice startled all of the girls in the room after hours of sitting in almost complete silence. "You will now be released into the forest. There are 3 alphas and 7 other males waiting. There are resting spots that are open for a week. You will get a 3-minute head start to run if you wish. You are not to kill or severely injure any of your pursuers. Once you are caught and marked, you have been and therefore the property of the one who caught you." Wayan felt her blood boil. She wasn't going to be any man's property. "You have 30 seconds to prepare." A timer appeared on the wall and Wayan's heart raced so fast she felt sick. Mia forced her to look at her. "Hold it together. If we stick together, then it will be harder for them to catch us. We are strong fighters." "It won't work. We are going to be caught anyways. They have a whole week to catch us. It's inevitable." "Wayan, please, you're strong. I have seen you fight back home. That quite humble, shy girl act you put on back with our old pack isn't going to help us now. I know you can act feral. I need that side of you to come out right now. We can do this together." "Okay, let's do this." "Good, let's go." The door opened. They both ran into the white forest along with the other girls, but having no idea where they were going. Mia looked around and sighed. "It's beautiful." Wayan nodded. "It really is," she admitted. As bad as the situation was, there was no doubt that their surroundings were quite breathtaking. Alpha Jeon Jungkook was in line for the throne, but first he needed a mate. He had busied himself with human females just for a good time, but never really thought about finding a mate or having heirs. Now things have changed. His father was on his deathbed and he was an only child. He was extremely desperate to find someone and he needed to find her now. That's why he was here with 9 other hungry men watching over the forest, waiting for the females to be released. Then he saw 2 girls running together and one in them was extremely fast compared to the other one. He thought she will make a perfect Luna for his pack. Both the girls climbed up the tall tree. Smart move, he thought. He quickly ran over to the tree and looked up. He heard their slight whimpers and their heavy breathing. He would have just climbed up the tree and taken his mate, but his wolf was way too big and he wanted to give her a chance to come willingly. He shifted into his human form. He looked up into the tree and started to speak. "Hello girls, I'm Alpha Jeon Jungkook from the Jeon pack. I have found you, so you can come out now. I'm not going to hurt you." He waited a few moments and was met with complete silence. "Girls, ouch!" He looked down at the pebble that had just hit him in the forehead. "Buzz off, okay? None of us want this. Just go away." Alpha Jeon just stared at her. She was stunning. She had the most perfect round little nose and long eyelashes that fanned out against her cheeks every time she blinked. It looked as if she had tied her hair in a knot to keep it out of her face. He almost wanted to laugh at how cute she looked in that moment, but looks were deceiving, as so far she's all shown him how cunning and slick she was. He had to be careful with this one. Aren't you tired of running? Come down, little ones, and I can show you a place to rest your heads properly. He looked up at the two of them in the tree hopefully. Yeah, so when I wake up, you can do me against my will, force me to carry your pups? I think not. If he didn't grab her and mark her soon, she could belong to someone else, and that can't happen. He had eyes on her first. I'm giving you a chance to come on your own, but if you won't play nice, then I guess I'll just have to come up there myself. She rolled her eyes. I guess you will then. He wanted to claim that stunning doe-eyed girl as soon as possible, and he could smell the other alphas getting closer. The least he needed to do was send her, and then nobody could dare challenge him for her. He sat down, and the two alphas came up to the tree, sniffing the air. They knew their prize was hidden up in the tree and planned to rip the other alpha apart to get it. At first they were extremely slow to approach Alpha Jeon, but when he didn't move and he showed almost no threat, they lunged at him. Wyan cringed as she watched them attack. As much as she wanted the alphas to leave her alone, she didn't want to watch Jungkook die or get seriously hurt. It was clear that he knew how to fight though. He was holding his own for the most part, and the other two alphas weren't any match for him. But he was getting tired, and the alphas were starting to draw blood, and it was becoming hard to watch. She looked at Mia, who was watching with tearful eyes. We have to do something, they'll kill him. She turned to Mia. I need you to hug me. Is now really the time? Trust me, those alphas are after you. Your scent is so strong, and if they smell it on me, they'll leave him alone and chase me instead. Alpha Jeon was starting to make progress, and he was halfway up the tree. Wyan realized that he was actually after her and not Mia, and she started to panic. She didn't want an alpha. They were too strong-willed and dominant and demanding. She would much rather have an omega such as herself, who would make her bear his pups and leave her alone afterwards, rather than an alpha who would no doubt do her over and over again and force her to bend to his will. We have to shift and get out of here. No, our scent will be that much stronger, and I'll be a dead giveaway. We have to split up, Wyan. You'll be caught for sure if we stick too close. No, I can't leave you. You'll be hurt. He's going to catch me anyways. When he does, then what's the worst that could happen? I know what he might do, Wyan, but then he might not. My father always told me to accept the things that we cannot change. There's nothing we can do. The longer we fight it, the more painful this entire process will be. It's time to give in, Wyan, please. Before Wyan could respond, the branches started creaking. When Wyan made sense of what was happening, she realized that she had landed on top of Jungkook, and her eyes widened. She looked over at Mia, whose alpha was standing over her, letting her know that it would be easier to submit that run because he had already won. Wyan felt tears prickle at her eyes at the sight. Wyan, you need to run right now. I'll be okay. Stop crying. Wyan nodded and rolled off the big black wolf. Before he even had the chance to lung for her, she took off. At this point, Alpha Jeon was quite irritated. Actually, he was extremely irritated. He wanted a mate that would be smart and athletically capable to produce strong pups, but she had far exceeded his expectations. He watched her take off her clothes as quick as she could while running, nearly tripping over herself to get as far away from him as possible. To his surprise, her wolf was black just as his was. As if she was to get far enough away, it would be hard to spot her. Then she tripped, or more like her paw got caught between two large stones and she couldn't get it out. As the alpha approached her from behind, she started crying and whimpering, making all kind of noises to try and keep him at a distance. Alpha Jeon wasn't trying to do her at the moment, but the way she was crying and whimpering made him feel like a monster. So he decided to explain himself. He shifted into his human form and stood up. I'm not going to hurt you. If you stay still, I can help you release your leg, okay? Wyan paused and looked into his grey eyes, not trusting him. Her poor paw was starting to hurt, and once he freed her, she could pick up running again, no problem. To him, it looked pretty bad, and he knew she was going to need medical attention. She probably couldn't feel it, but her leg was almost completely cut open and it was bleeding profusely. The second he pulled the rocks apart to release her, she shot off like a bullet, but didn't get far enough because a fierce pain shot up her leg. She howled so loudly that Jungkook was pretty sure she shook the trees. He ran over to her and crouched down beside her. Can you shift for me? I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just trying to help. If I don't tend to your wound, it can and it will get infected. Wyan decided that it was time to give in. Well, at least her wolf did. She was hurt and she couldn't run any longer, so there was no point in struggling. She whimpered and reluctantly shifted, covering herself up the best she could. She noticed that Jungkook had no issue with showing all of his glory to the world, but despite being comfortable with her, she would rather not have him see her completely immodest, lest he get any bright ideas. He grinned and gently lifted her off the ground, but she was so angry with herself. How could she let herself get caught so easily? And Mia, was she okay? Had the alpha that caught her hurt her for fighting him? She started screaming at the thought and was rewarded with the sound of Jungkook's chuckle. Do you have to fight me literally every step of the way, little one? I'm not little, you giant, and I have to help Mia, so put me down. I'll limp if I have to. He shook his head in amusement. No, besides, we are almost there, and you can't do much of anything on that leg. But Mia? Mia is fine, he interrupted. She's with her new mate, and he isn't going to hurt her. He's going to take good care of her as he's meant to do. They finally approached an extremely small cabin and she sighed in relief. They got inside and to her surprise, it was actually nicely furnished. He set her down on the couch gently and slipped on a pair of sweatpants. Neither of them said anything as he helped her into the sweater. She just looked past him, feeling a sense of defeat. Of course she got caught. He was now her mate and there was nothing she could do about it. She then looked at the man she was somewhat destined to be with forever, and if she was honest with herself, he wasn't bad looking. He had a very nice jawline, he had beautiful grey eyes, and he was built like an ancient god. But looks aren't everything, she reminded herself. I never got your name. His somehow deep and perfect voice startled her out of her staring contest. My name is Wyan. Not that it's any of your business. He chuckled, genuinely amazed at the woman's spunk. Is that so? Yes, I don't plan on being here long. Just fix my leg up so I can run again. He stood up and laughed deeply, finding her to be hilarious at this point. You're not going anywhere, little one. I have selected you as my mate. You belong to me now. Well, I guess we'll see about that, won't we? Wyan watched as he pulled a kit along with a bottle of drink before sitting beside her. She glared at him as he grabbed her leg and pulled it up to his lap. On a scale of 1 to 10, 11, only because of the knowledge that you won't leave me alone afterwards adds to the pain. He smiled. Very childish, aren't you? She immediately became defensive. Coming from a man who won't take no for an answer, very much like a 4-year-old. You're extremely stubborn. He hummed in agreement, pouring some of the drink onto her leg and pressing a cloth to it, making her scream in pain. Guess we have something in common then. Here, he gave the drink. Drink it, it takes the edge off. Wyan sniffed the bottle before looking inside. She pressed it to her lips, gulping it down and unfortunately choking. Jungkook looked at her with concern. You have never had alcohol before? It's not water. You can't drink it like that. He reaches over to take the bottle from her, but she slapped his hand away. She started to drink carefully this time. She placed the bottle into his lap and smirked at the dumbfounded look on his face. I have had alcohol before, and I know it's not like water. She sat back as he put the finishing touches on her leg as she looked at the bandages. He did pretty well. The pain had decreased significantly and she was feeling much better.